And I'll have to watch Roseanne. I didn't know she had a podcast, so I'll have to watch
She
that.
does. In fact, I want to show you guys a clip
Okay.
because she mentioned your brother. And I love that. I have to say, I love when comedians, acknowledge him and respect him. He's so much in the fabric of
He
American.
really changed the world of comedy.
Absolutely. So the podcast starts off where they're talking, I cut that part out, but they're talking about how when people come and they want to talk about peace, they try to get rid of them. So they were talking about Bob Marley. So that's where Bob Marley.
I've had a good routine on that.
Yes, he did.
What was it like? Did you get to know Kinison at all?
Yeah.
See,
good.
I would learn. Is it him? Where he's like, I have a dream. I have a fucking head wound.
Yeah.
All we are saying is shut the fucking. He's another one. Like, he was a big influence too.
Yeah. On Generations.
Yes.
So great.
Yeah. I thought he
burnt bright and blew out fast.
Yes, he's another
Really?
one. So when you blow up like that, and I think I don't know him how you did or
Tortured.
Yeah. So to go from, again, like you said, and all of a sudden you're in
Yeah.
everyone thinks you're the greatest thing in the world.
Now what are you going to do for jokes?
People
like you.
People like you.
You're
now.
not going to come up. Who are you going to fight? You're a millionaire.
Right.
Who are you going to fight now? You're not going to fight them people. You're not even in that thing anymore. It takes a lot of shit to find you're funny again. And I felt like he was like, I'm out of funny. See ya.
Probably. He was probably like, I said everything I had to say or did everything I had to do. And then you hit that mark and boom, blow up. I saw him in Tampa and it was like going to a Metallica concert.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been,
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen such madness.
It's interesting seeing Roseanne because Sam was the one that told her to go to L.A. We played
Denver.
Colorado Springs,
Oh,
actually.
Colorado Springs.
And then we went to this little comedy club afterwards, much like Rodney Dangerfield used to do. And Roseanne was up. No one except
Nobody knew her.
that area knew who she was. And so Sam thought she was really funny. And so afterwards they were talking. And he said, you need to get out of here. I'll call Mitzi Shore at the Comedy Store. You need to go to L.A.
How do you get out and get into comedy?
Well, I left home after I had that daughter. I left home and I went to Colorado and I lived on a commune. And I just got a couple jobs and I was always funny,
Mm-hmm.
And then I had 3 kids and got married. And I started in that time always writing, I was always writing funny things. And I got a couple of things published. And then I got a job as a cocktail waitress. And, I started just letting the shit fly with my customers. And it was in Denver. And one of the customers said, you ought to go down to that comedy club down in Larimer Square. And I'm like, what? And it was like, all the hairs were standing on my body. It was like a electric response. And I just knew, because all my life it was there. And I just knew that I was going to go down there and do comedy. I just knew it. And then after I had about...
This is what year approximately?
I started in 1980, and that was about 1982 when I could begin to middle in clubs. And then pretty soon I start headlining in those little clubs, and people saw me, other comics, and they said, oh, you should come to L.A. and audition for Mitzi Shore, because she's the mother of all comedy,
Yep.
at the Comedy Store there.
And so Sam thought she was really funny. And so afterwards they were talking. And he said, you need to get out of here. I'll call Mitzi Shore at the Comedy Store. You need to go to L.A.
So I did, and that was 1985. And I was very prepared with my 5 minutes after 5 years of working it, And
Right.
So when I went up, I came off, I really killed too.
And I think Mitzi will love you. And so she did, and Mitzi did love her.
And Mitzi said, go do 20 in the big room. And all the waitresses said that she had never done that before, taking somebody from audition to the big room in the same night. and it was just like a dream. And I did 20, and in the audience was George Slaughter, and he was doing a show, Women of Comedy, and he came up after and asked me, did I want to be on this TV show, Women of Comedy? So, of course, I said, yeah, I'm going to go back to Denver and settle up, get my kids taken care of, and I'll come back and do it. Came back 2 weeks later to, rehearse for that show, and Jim McCauley of The Tonight Show was in that audience, and he came up to me and goes, Roseanne, I'd like to put you on Friday night. Well, I damn near crapped my pants.
Yeah.
And I went on that Friday night, and Julio Iglesias was the guest and asked me if I would open for him on an 18-city tour. It was like bing, 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 bing.
That was
a dream
Johnny
come true.
Carson era, right?
Yeah, when that's all you had to do is get on Johnny Carson, and you had your career in front of you, and that's what happened to me.
And then once back then, once you got on Johnny Carson, that was worth 2 years of bookings.
And then I got my show because of the 18-city tour. I had a lot of press, and I kind of got popular and had enough press to bring it to networks to see me, and they gave me a deal. And I went on the air and was #1 in 3 weeks, 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Knocking Cosby off.
I don't know.
It was a God-given moment. I think it was just, I was just very lucky, and it was in the right place at the right time.
And I remember Mitzi bringing Roseanne out back with Sam and I, and so she goes, I think you two ought to go on stage together. And so Sam was like, sure. And then I remember Roseanne going, you can't say anything about my weight. And so Sam goes, hey, don't get on stage if you can't handle the sword. And so that never did happen. But
they didn't get on stage together.
They ended up being good friends and everything. But he was the one that influenced her
Look at that.
to go to LA.
Wow.
Small world.
It's a small world. If she never would have went, she never would have got on Carson.
No.
Wow.
And I'll never forget Sam. He did Carson twice, but I remember once.
At the end, yeah.
And then he said, I've made it. We made it. We made it. We made it. We made it on Carson. And that's how, back then, really, that's how people thought. Once they made it on Johnny Carson, that was.
Yeah.
That was
a dream
Johnny
come
Carson
true.
era, right?
Yeah, when that's all you had to do is get on Johnny Carson, and you had your career in front of you, and that's what happened to me, thanks to Johnny Carson and all those people.